Okay, I'm just waiting on the notification. I'm waiting on the notification. And then we'll put this on YouTube, Sister Haniyah as well, so you can send it to some people as well.
Oh my God.
Okay. Okay, perfect. And we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to a very special edition of Off the Record on the People's Podcast this evening. We have an amazing family, a family that has inspired many people in the nation from all across the country. And we look forward to getting some information from them as well as some inspiration. And that is none other than the Muhammad family. But we're going to start with the mother, the matriarch of their family, none other than Sister Carmen Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum, ma'am.
Well, Lakem Salam. I'd like to say thank you for having us on. I'm very humbled. And as we stated before in the beginning, we definitely want you to know that your Father's in our prayers as well as all the believers. But again, we're very humbled and honored to be with you this evening. Thank you so much.
Praise be to Allah. It means a lot to myself and my family, as well as the viewing audience, that you all would take time out of your busy schedule to unite and come on the People's Podcast. We want to start with Brother Mikal. I want to give you the greetings as well. The brother who, for me, growing up in Chicago, I didn't see you as much as I saw your sisters, but the brother who's holding it down on the West Coast for many years, Brother Mikal. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Well, alaikum salam, dear brother. It's an honor and pleasure to be on your platform, and I appreciate the opportunity, for you for us to just share our story with you, our life.
Praise be to Allah. And behind you, we're going to start with Sister Haniyah, who always tries to put herself in the back, and I told her not today. So, Sister Haniyah, assalamu alaikum, ma'am. An incredible sister, y'all. I'm going to give the bio as we go along, but if y'all know Sister Haniyah, she's putting in work at all times with a joyous spirit. And to Sister Kabasa, the serious sister, student, captain and everything ever since I've ever seen her, training sisters with the Vanguard at all times. Thank you, Sister Kabasa, for taking time out of your busy schedule as well. Assalamu alaikum, ma'am.
Praise be to Allah. Wa alaikum salam. And that student lieutenant.
That's what I'm saying. I was saying back in the day. I'm not saying right now. That's what I'm saying. See what I'm saying? Clearly, we talk about back in the day. I understand. Yes. So many people are giving you all the greetings in the comments. Thank everyone for watching the People's Podcast this evening. Okay, well, we want to start with Sister Carmen. When did you first hear the teachings, and what made you accept them?
I heard the teachings. I started coming around when I was 15 years old. My sister was in process and was pursuing getting her ex. And we had a cousin who was a lieutenant at the mosque in Long Beach, California. So my exposure to Islam was actually when I was 15 years old. Yes, sir.
And where was this, ma'am?
This was actually in Long Beach, California, the LBC. Yes, sir. We started in Long Beach. That is where I started my processing. By the time I got my ex, we were at Compton. And Compton had just gotten this number. It was mosque number 54. So that's kind of what happened. We went from Long Beach to Compton. But I was exposed to Islam when I was 15. And at the time, I was dancing on Soul Train. And, a lot of my friends was like, are you serious? Are you really getting ready to join the Muslims, the Nation of Islam? And I said, yes, because, whenever I would go to the mosque, I was always very attracted to the unity that I saw with the brothers and with the sisters. And it was just very magnetic for me. So that was really what impressed me the most.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. And as we come to the children next, before there's children, there first, of course, had to be their father, who we have to make sure that we mention and honor our brother, who is now, free and who's putting work for the nation. And so many people, especially like my father and all of the OGs, always reference you all's father, and in such a way that I look forward to learning from him through you all's eyes. Well, Sister Carmen, what made you fall in love with their how did you meet and want to produce his 3 children for him?
Okay, well, That's a hard question, no, not really. At the time, again, I was 16 when I got my ex, and I was really I was very social, a social butterfly. So we had kind of this righteous competition thing. My brother-in-law was actually the minister of the mosque. And so I would often get my classmates to come and visit the mosque. And so I met Brother Malik because at the time he was considered to be one of the top fishermen in the mosque. So we just, we connected that way. I was attracted to him because I saw things in him. I saw leadership. I saw a love, a real love for, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I saw someone that was very focused and very committed, but I saw someone who was in love with God. And I say that because that should be the first preference for anybody that any woman is looking at. You want that person to show that they have a love for God. Because if you have a love for God, then you're automatically going to have a love for righteousness and for the law and for all of the things that will keep you strengthened in your faith. So that was one of the main attracting factors. And he had a little swag. He had a little swag. He didn't have as much as me though, right? Remember, I was on Soul Train. No, not really. But he didn't have as much as me, but he had a little swag. Yes, sir.
Okay. And for you, Brother Mikal, what was it like being the man, stepping up and having to be the man of the house and protect your moms and your sisters while your father was away?
That's a loaded question. Of course, it was challenging, but like my mother, she was so strong. When my father was away, she had to be both mother and father, and she really put the root of Islam into us in terms of us, no matter what we did in life, Islam was going to be our foundation. But in particular, dealing with my father, I know that, we've been on study guide 18 the past couple of weeks or so, months. And some of the questions, they ask us to put ourselves in a position of Mother Claire Muhammad and how will we respond? And it's difficult for me to put myself in that position of a woman in terms of, understanding her mate taking on. The question was, how would you feel? How would you respond if, your husband had this taken on wives? And how would you, would you really have anger or a certain disposition towards God? Now, for me coming up, I've heard like you said, I've heard all the stories about my father, being around the brothers, seeing his magnetic and personality, people just attach themselves to him. So of course, as a young man, I wanted to be up under him, right up underneath him. But he got incarcerated right when I was 15. So, right in my 10th grade year, he was pulled away. And for me, I was kind of, angry with God because, I'm looking at all the brothers to tell their experience, all the people in the field. And, my mother and father separated when we were young, and he wasn't in a home, but we always had contact. But right when we started to mend and really get our relationship back to where I was around him was right when he got picked up. So, I kind of questioned God and why did he put me and my family in that situation? Because of course, every son wants their father, especially, he's not an ordinary man. He's a different kind of man. So of course I yearned for that, but in my searching for that and questioning God in the right spirit, I come to understood that, he's a good father and he's a good trainer and he's a good man, but Allah is the best knower. And Allah is who he's trying to pull me closer to him. Even though I look towards my father, he was kind of giving me a lesson that, your father is this, but I'm still God. I'm still Allah. So I looked at all the men that was in the ranks, but the more that I saw men coming out of the system, because no matter where my father went, he was from Northern to Southern California, you know, so many different prisons, but all of the brothers that would come home would tell me how much that he impacted their lives and how they didn't know Islam, how they didn't know who the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was. They didn't know who the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was. But because they came in contact with him, they fell in love with him, but they really fell in love with Farrakhan because he was representing the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So in seeing that love coming from the men, it really, it kind of, you know, helped my heart in knowing that, you know, this is all, to me, a divine purpose. And Allah pulled him away from me. Like the Quran says, Allah don't put on any soul a burden beyond his scope.
Yes, sir.
Or he don't put on anybody that which they cannot bear. So I must have been the son that was able to take him being absent for 30 years. And then, like I said, when the brothers came back, the spirit that they fed to me, it made me know that Allah had a purpose for him and directing those men who wouldn't have a chance behind the walls to get a true representation of the Nation of Islam and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Minister Farrakhan if they didn't come in contact with him. So seeing how all those lives were transformed, it really gave me the wherewithal and the respect, really more respect of God, and knowing that, you know, we plan, but Allah planned, and he's the best of planners, and he's the best of knowers. And even though I was apart from him physically, we were never apart in terms of communication. We would always drive up there. I would always, you know, drive to see him no matter where he was in Northern California, Southern California. I would take my sisters. We have more brothers and sisters out in Phoenix. So sometimes I would drive to the prison, see him, then drive to Phoenix, get my brothers and sisters, drive back to the prison, see him. And, you know, we went through those challenges, and it was difficult, and it is difficult. But, you know, like I said, Allah's the best knower, and I'm just happy that Allah put him in a position that he was able to help change the way men were and the way they think, and have them become followers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad as exemplified through the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So, I mean, it's like I said, that's such a loaded question because, of course, you know, you as growing up a young man, you want to be a man, and when you see an example of a man, you want to be under that tutelage. So, you know, the only way to be a lion is to see a lion. But me being on the outside, I had to strengthen my relationship directly with God, because even though my father was there to further, as that's what a father does, I had to go directly to the Father, who is Allah himself. So the more that I went to the Father, the more I understood why he put my father in the position that he's in order to help change lives. And I just thank Allah that I'm blessed to come from, you know, the stock of my mother and father.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. So many people are giving you all so much love in the comments, and thank you all. And I'm coming back to everybody's questions. Thank you all for being transparent. And I want to thank you on behalf of myself, my family, and the viewing audience for the sacrifice of your family, of your father, and just being great examples of a family of Muhammad. All four of you all always holding it down. Praise be to Allah. Sister Haniyah, you always had a vibrant personality, talented, gifted. When you became of age, what made you choose the faith when so many people who grew up in it may not choose it? What made you choose to join the nation and be a soldier?
You know, I always had my parents as wonderful examples. And I actually, even though we didn't attend the mosque regularly when we were children, actually, when the nation fell the first time, my father stayed with the nation, the minister, and my mother and her sister, which is my aunt, they actually started to attend the masjid. So when we were with my father in the summertime in Phoenix, we would be at the mosque. And then at home in Long Beach, we would go to the masjid. We would attend the masjid. I always, you know, she didn't join the masjid, but we used to have to go.
We went to the masjid.
With my aunt. Yes. My mother would come. She didn't join, but you know, we were there. It's the point I'm trying to make. We were there.
My mother was keeping us around Islam. Like she said, her sister and my uncle, he's the one that started the Compton Mosque. But then when the nation split, he went with the imam. So we were kind of, you know, but instead of her keeping us away, she kept us around family. Those are our cousins anyway. And we were around them all the time. So we'd be over there every day on the weekends. And naturally, we would just go to the masjid with them as well. But, you know, it's not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing. We would go to Sister Clara Muhammad's school, see how they would do things. But also we would understand from a certain different perspective, like it's a lot of different believers that left, you know, and went with Warith Adi Muhammad. But again, it was just my mother keeping us around Islam at that time and around family as well.
And did you want to elaborate on why you joined the mosque as well? The question.
Yeah, because of me.
The answer. No, actually, so what happened?
No, I think that's important. Let me say this.
Sure,
I think it's important that it's understood that when the nation fell, everybody that was in the nation under the instructions was with Warith Adi Muhammad in the beginning. So yes, in the beginning, we all gravitated that way because we wanted to be in obedience with what we thought was being obedient, which he was, you know, saying that he was the one who was going to lead us. So when we talk about that, you know, that's where the difference was. It was when the nation fell. You know, most of the believers, we were told to take off your headpieces, throw away your lessons, you know, you're not going to dress like this anymore. You know, they were getting acclimated into a more Middle Eastern lifestyle, which was not really totally attractive to me. But what was important to me was that my children understood what being a Muslim was and knowing that Master Farad Muhammad was God. And that's why, you know, I think we all stayed there for a moment, you know, but when the minister stood back up, then all of us that knew that that was the true way, we all stood back up. So, yes, sir.
Me too a lot.
So,
yes, ma'am.
that takes me to when I was about maybe 8 years old.
Yes, ma'am.
Anyhow, I remember particularly, I was in the 12th grade, about to graduate, and my brother was in college. He was at USC, and he started to go back attending regularly. So one Sunday, I went with him, and you know, it's just something about being in the mosque when you know that that's where you're supposed to be.
Yes, ma'am.
No, when you go and you're there, it just sparks something in you. I remember graduating. I was in my first year of college, and I went again on a Sunday to the mosque with my brother. And you know, we were always received well because it was like, oh, here come Carmen and Malik's children. You know, and then you would hear, you know your daddy and you know your mom. I mean, so it was always just a welcoming, for the most part, a welcoming, just home environment. So I was in my first year of college. My brother had registered, and you know, I just always knew the life that I would see that other girls would lead. You know, being young, out trying to look for a man, not really knowing, not really having any direction. I just always knew that that just was not the life that I wanted to lead.
And they were threatened too. They were threatened to tell the truth.
No, we were threatened several times. Death, you get pregnant, like all y'all finna die, all that kind of stuff. But you know, I went to the mosque one Sunday with him, and I remember just sitting there, and I was like, I need to write my letter. And it was just that simple for me. I went, told him I wanted to, that I would be back in class. I wanted to write my letter. Went through the process. I did the whole process. Went through processing, recited, wrote my letter, and got my letter back. The same day I got my letter back, no, I got my letter back on a Friday. That Saturday, I went straight to the mosque, recited, and like, it was a wrap. It was just that simple for me. I mean, it was just that simple. And then right after I registered, I think Kabasa registered right after I did. It was in July of 97. July 97.
But we have been going to the mosque every Sunday. You know, I remember Sister Emeritus Captain Alice, every time I would come, she would say, okay, I know you're here. I even helped them when they did the Million Man March anniversary dinner, the celebration right after the march in LA. I assisted with that. I was always very actively involved. I just, you know, was doing it and kind of doing it from a distance. But Islam, when Islam is ingrained in you,
yes, ma'am.
when Islam is a lifestyle for you, you know, you don't take on mixed instructions and you don't take on another lifestyle. So I remember also, and I don't know if the children remember this, my grown children, but we ended up having a conversation with Mother Tynetta out in Orange County. She was visiting with a sister once, and I was very emotional when I had this conversation with her, because I told her that I was struggling with, you know, being like just there, you know what I mean, and on the books. And, you know, her conversation was so gentle and so mothering with me. I think it was like a month after that, that I actually went in and signed my form. And right away, the emeritus captain grabbed me. She said, oh, you getting ready to be a lieutenant. I'm getting ready to put you to work for real now. We couldn't put you to work like we wanted to, you know, even though you were here every Sunday. So it was really beautiful, because once everybody got back in the groove, we would all climb in the car. And we were at the mosque from, I think y'all can bear witness, from Monday to Sunday. And we would get in the car. We would get out before FOI started, but we was there. And we would get in the car, and when we would pull up, people would just crack up. They would be in stitches. They was like, here they come, you know. So praise be to Allah, but it was very beautiful. And I thank Allah, because I know so many more people that were in the first with me, who have not made it back and who may not get back, you know, because they don't want to bear witness to the truth, you know, but I pray to Allah that they do make it back. I do.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. And we're coming to Sister Kabasa next. But I wanted to ask you, Sister Carmen, who is Brother Malik's brother that you all said was the minister of the mosque? Like,
no, that was my brother-in-law. He was my sister's husband.
Oh, okay, yes, ma'am.
Minister. He was Brother Arthur, 7X, I think. And then he was given the name Nuri. He was actually one of the brothers that got shot when they came in the mosque on Broadway. And the secretary was killed, Brother Ronald Stokes. And my brother-in-law was shot 7 times. And he was still fighting with 7 bullets in him. And they left him laying on the sidewalk. I remember this story so well. And he actually, as his life began, as he got older, a couple of the bullets that they were never able to remove began to shift. And he, in his latter life, became paralyzed from that. Yes, sir.
Sorry to hear that, man. Allah bless him. Reward him and his family for their sacrifice. Sister Kabasa, assalamu alaikum again, ma'am.
Salam.
Yes, ma'am. What is it? A lot of people who know you through, of course, your work with the sisters, but through drill. And as a DI, somebody who, me and my family, we can't wait to watch drill competitions together. What is it about drill that that drew you to that, and what made you be a drill instructor?
Wow. Just the whole, the purpose of drill. Drill compelling the habits of obedience. And when I was younger, one of the things, one of my great memories of growing up, whether we were coming to the mosque or not, is that my father, he drilled the men.
Yes, ma'am.
So we would always watch. I think I would watch the brothers drill more than I would watch the sisters drill, because my father was constantly drilling the brothers, whether it was on the street, whether they were in the mosque, whether they were at the Black Library, whether they were somewhere in the community. I always remembered drill and how drill attracted the people, how drill attracted it, not just those that said that they believed, not just the Muslims, but drill was always a very attracting force to our community and to our brothers and sisters. So I always loved to watch it. I love to see what it brought, the unity that it brought, just within those that were drilling and just those watching it, and how inspiring it is for everyone that has that, the warlike, it brings out the warlike propensities within you. And it's a feeling that you get from watching drill. And I just love to see it. I love to see the younger sisters, Sister Joy, Sister Rakaya from Chicago, Sister Medina. I love to see the expression of God come out of them. And that's the one thing that I did love growing up, is just you see the expression of God coming out of the brothers when they drill. When the brothers call and the sisters call, you see the expression of God coming out of them and bringing life to the people, bringing life to those in the ranks and those that are observing. So that's just one thing it's just something that I believe is natural. If you grow up in the mosque, if you grow up around the mosque, it's just something that you do if you're in the mosque. It's the exercise of the gods.
Absolutely. Praise be to Allah.
You trying to emulate me too, brother.
Nothing about that statement is true.
No, really, they all really are, though. Be honest, in the drill competitions, they were always the last ones. They really were.
And Muhammad says, well, Mikal and Haniyah always was. In truth, they would always be the last, even though Haniyah, people think that she, is always jovial and joking, but she was actually always the last sister standing. And he was always the last brother standing. And Muhammad says, when we would have Muhammad says at the mosque in Mosque 27.
Praise be to Allah. Beautiful, beautiful. A lot of people are liking, sharing, and continue to support the People's Podcast. Sister Carmen, my next question for you, ma'am, is being soul trained, coming into the nation, but always being a businesswoman, you were around a lot of celebrities. Can you tell us one of your favorite celebrity interactions, please?
Oh my goodness. It'd have to be Cedric the Entertainer. Do you guys remember that one?
Yes.
It would have to be Cedric the Entertainer. As you know, Tyrese was one of my last clients before I moved here to Chicago. And he had asked us, my whole family, we love to cook. So he had asked us one day if we would cater an event for him at his home in Temecula. And so I said, sure. So we went up and we were doing the catering, and he was waiting for all of his guests to get there. And so I remember Cedric kept calling me on my cell phone, because he was on his way there, right? Yes, and I don't think he realized Temecula from LA was as far as it was. So every time he would call, I was like, oh, brother, you'll be here in about 30 minutes, right? So the last time he called, he was like, well, do I need to just get my passport? Really? And so when he finally got there, he came in the kitchen and he said, I've been looking for you, okay? Because you really misled me. But it was just like a very, very beautiful, just a down-to-earth meeting with the brother, Oftentimes when you're working around celebrities, as you know, they're used to people catering to them. Yes, and, they have somewhat of an entitlement type of a mentality. But because I am a follower of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, I never had that problem with them. You know, they understood that, you know, whatever kind of relationship we have, it's a working relationship. And it doesn't, none of the other stuff doesn't matter, you know. So I really, a lot of people really enjoyed being around me because they would say, you know what, you know, when we come around you guys, we get the real deal. You know, we don't feel like people are just hanging around because they want to be associated with us.
Yes, ma'am.
And so, you know, I have some really fond memories of quite a few people. Tyrese, he's a very good brother, you know, and I really pride myself because I really, truly, honestly believe that we had great influence over them just because of the way that we carried ourselves as it relates to the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Sis Farrakhan. So that was a blessing.
Praise be to Allah. Excellent. And Brother Mikal, some of the pictures that you sent me were with the undisputed GOAT of all GOATs, Michael Jackson. But I'm going to ask you anyway, what is some of your favorite celebrity interactions?
I mean, I don't know if they favorite, but I will say, you know, working with Michael Jackson, I got to see him up close, and really witness his humility and really his genuine spirit. And to me, that's kind of the thing that really attracted me to him, is just the way he is with quote unquote ordinary people. You know, the way he treats people, the way he talks to people. He doesn't consider himself above anyone. He's always, you know, conversing, and his fans, like, we be doing details, and like I said, it literally be like 50 people that follow him everywhere from all over the world. Like they get, like, these people don't do nothing but follow him, and you see him and you be like, wow, what do you do? Like, how do you maintain your life if you following this man around the world all the time? But you know, I remember one time we was driving, and he was staying at the Bel Air Hotel, and it was a group of fans that was probably outside for like a week. So when we was coming back, you know, he was like, you know, slow down, I want to talk to them. And, you know, he rolled the window down and talked to them. And it was about 30 people when we left, but when we came back, it was just 2 diehards that was still standing there. So he pulled up on and talked to them, and then he invited them to eat dinner with him and his children. And I was like, you know, what are you doing? But, you know, he's like, yeah, invite him in, you know, but you guys are my security, so just check them. And I'm like, you don't even know these people. But, you know, we briefed them, we talked to them, we like, look, you know, we go take you in, you go meet Michael. They start crying and acting crazy. He's like, you can't do none of that. You know, if you go in, you gotta, you know, I know that you love him and everything, but you can't be acting crazy, because, you know, his children probably was like, you know, 8, 6, and 4, 10, 8, and 6 at that time. They were little. But when he did stuff like that, that just kind of, you know, threw a curveball, because here you are, you're looking at a man that can really distance himself from everybody and be disconnected. But he was somebody that actually, you know, looked at everybody and everything. And another thing that tripped me out about him was his skill as being an artist. Like, he would freehand draw stuff. And like, some of his stuff can be in museums. That's how talented he was as an artist. So just, you know, witnessing him up close and personal, and just his spirit, I would say that was probably one of the people that I felt that I got the most out of working with, you know, as a celebrity. All them other celebrities, you know, like my mom said, they all, you know, they have a certain, you know, which, you know, when you have those kind of people around you that just a bunch of yes people, and, you know, they expect you to be a yes person too. But, you know, when you train under the FOI,
yes, sir,
Muslim, you know, you get a different type of security. And it's like, I secured the man of God, so you really ain't nothing to me. It ain't nobody else that's a celebrity more than the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So all that other stuff, you know, it is what it is. But, you know, being that we're tolerant, courteous, submissive, we know how to handle, you know, certain type of personalities. But, you know, by far, Michael Jackson probably was the best, you know, celebrity I work with.
Excellent. Thank you all for your showing love. Thank you all for your transparency. Sister Haniyah, what has been your favorite celebrity interaction, ma'am?
Probably myself.
Good answer.
I knew it.
Good answer.
I knew it.
I mean,
show your face, brother. I knew it.
I don't know. I guess because, when we grew up, because my mother was so intertwined kind of in that entertainment, nobody really, I didn't get excited by too many things or too many people. Like even, growing up in Long Beach, when we were young, like we grew up with Snoop, like we know Snoop. So, people look at Snoop now and it's like, woo. But, to us, it's like, it's Snoop. It's just Snoop. The only person that I literally like have to, get the breathing together and like calm yourself down is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
That's right. That's right.
That's it. Like, that's it. Nobody else, like somebody could walk past, like I've been places and like somebody say, you didn't see that such and such. And I'm like, okay. I mean, and even, seeing them come by, being Savior's Day, the minister interacts with a lot of celebrities. And some of us, you can tell when people get a little excited. It's just kind of like, oh, assalamu alaikum, how you doing? That's it. Right. I mean, celebrities to me, like I have my own group of people that I just love and respect, like greatly. Brother Wazir, D3. He is a celebrity to me. Right. Like, he's like one of my favorite people. You know what I mean? I mean, all the brothers on the motorcade. It's like when I see them coming, I'm cheering. Hey, like I get excited and I think I love and gravitate towards people who love and care for who I feel is a celebrity, which is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So anybody who, in any way, Sister Mary Alice, anybody who I feel like, in my opinion, takes care of him, then like that's who team I'm on.
That's the real stars, right?
That's it.
Mother Teresa. I mean,
ooh, baby,
it's just so much.
Don't start taking my questions before I get to them. Come on.
I'm sorry. But there's just, I mean, it's very few people to me who I just like love, and like you look at them wrong, you breathe and like look like you're gonna breathe on them wrong, like I have a problem. But those are the people. Celebrities, like I don't,
Great, beautiful. Praise be to Allah. And so many people are bearing witness in the comments. And once it goes to YouTube, please continue to like, share, and comment. Every comment matters, y'all. Okay, Sister Kabasa, what type of music do you listen to, ma'am?
Uh-oh.
I can answer that, but I'll let her take it.
King Bond.
We're having fun here.
What kind of question is that? Tell the truth. Somebody must have gave you some insight, because that was a good question. But I'll wait for her to answer.
I listen to everything that I like. I listen to rap.
Okay.
I listen to R&B. I listen to rap, a lot of rap, R&B.
Okay.
I listen to good music.
Who?
I'm not going to get into who on the people's podcast.
We listen to Jay Electronica.
Well, of course,
yeah.
We listen to him. But I listen to rap. I like music. I like music. It calms me. So I listen to I listen to R&B. I listen to rap. That's what I like.
Wonderful, great. And as you all can tell, I'm a big fan of music as well.
Did you want a more transparent answer? Did you want a more transparent answer?
I mean, I absolutely did, but you see how I threw her that question before instead of the one y'all, because I already know what she was going to post.
Who do you like?
I have a quick. Okay, so many people are coming and commenting and asking some questions, because I'm coming to the Mother Farrakhan question for sure. And of course, we're going to come with the most Honorable Farrakhan. But I have a quick 60-second commercial break for all of the amazing sponsors of the People's Podcast. This month has been some, every month we have, great sponsorships. But this month, we're starting off a new month. And I want to thank all of the new sponsors, all of the consistent sponsors, as we continue the People's Podcast. Here we go. Let me share this screen. And I want to thank our illustrious guests who are, took time out of their busy schedule. So many comments and so many people texting. A lot of people are texting me questions as well. Y'all could have just, y'all could have put the questions.
Who texted the music question?
I'm like, y'all could have just, okay, here we go. If you would all like to be a sponsor or a donor of the People's Podcast, please Cash App the People's Podcast. That means a lot to all of the People's Podcast family. 1 second, here we go, and boom. All right, I'm gonna start off with, okay, here we go. I'm gonna start with my brother Rashad, Street Premiere Media Production. He has a 4K camera and a drone. He does television and film editing. Thank you very much, Rashad, for your sponsorship. My sister Miriam, ABC I Love Me, children's book and coloring book, both of which are on Amazon. Make sure you go out and get those. My sister Naima, Stay On Point Dance Academy, LLC. She teaches ballet virtually to young girls all across the country. And if you're in Atlanta in person, we love our tiny dancers. Our brothers out of Los Angeles, MTS Car Bros. Any make, any model in the year, 30 to 50% off. Thank you all. Make sure you all go get some cars and trucks from them. We're coming back to this lovely family. Brother Kenneth, bow tie maker extraordinaire. Thank you very much for your sponsorship. He'll ship bow ties to you all across the country. Sister Kanika Yakub out of Chicago. Thank you very much, Sister Kanika. CBD Mom Company. She has a self-infused care line of creams and all of that great stuff. Thank you very much, Sister Kanika. My letter A book by Sister Landra El Muhammad. Thank you very much. My letter A book by Sister Landra El Muhammad. Dr. Henry M. Carter. He has King Henry Turkey Leg here, right here in Atlanta, Georgia. Brother Rashad Muhammad of Chicago, COVID-19 Disinfecting Cleaning Services. My father's book, A Soldier in the Movement of Christ at AbdulSharif.com. Last but not least, my 2 books, Cleopatra, which is a children's book on Amazon, and No Father, No Excuse, which is on Amazon as well. Thank you all very much for the sponsorships and the donors that keeps the People's Podcast going and alive. Thank you very much. Back to this incredible family. Sister Carmen, but yeah, I got to go away from the Mother Farrakhan question. I'll come back to that. Thank you, Sister Haniyah. But Sister Carmen, you have been in Long Beach, Compton, in Chicago, so many places. And being a mother of 3 children, has there ever been a time when you faced fear? And if so, how did you overcome that fear?
I don't think that I've ever faced fear. I like to say that I got married when I was 17 years old. That's how much swag they daddy had. Right? Yeah, he tricked me big time. But so by the time I was 20 years old, I had 3 children. The teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, is the foundation for us as a people. When you know and when you understand who God is,
yes, ma'am,
then you understand who you are, yes, as a woman. And I don't care if I'm able to accomplish 100 or 1,000 more things in this life. The most important thing to me has been the role of a mother. The role of a mother. I believe that God would be pleased with me. And I like to say to any young woman, make God first in your life.
Yes, ma'am.
And when you make God first in your life, you understand that you have a commitment with God. You've got a role as a woman that you've got to play. I don't care where you go with your career, with any of that. The most important thing that we can do in this life is to be a good mother. If you can be a good mother, then you are going to be pleasing to Allah, because your children are a loan to you. You don't own them.
Yes, ma'am.
They're a loan. They're a gift from Allah. And so you have a responsibility to make sure that you instill the love of God in your child as babies, so that they can grow up with you. I think even if I had a fear, I didn't know I had a fear, because I had children and they had grown up with me, and we have become so close as a family. I mean, they went everywhere with me, brother. When I say everywhere, I had a professional sports magazine. My son will bear me witness. When it came to me going to a game, if they was giving me a pass, I needed one for my son. You know, if I have to go do something, I had my children with me. There's no greater gift from God than to have children in your life and to be able to instill God and the fear of God in children, and then to be able to sit back and look at your children and know that they're going to be okay because you know that they have that foundation of God in their life. So fear, whenever I thought or may have felt a little overwhelmed, I always seek refuge in Allah. Believe me, raising 3 children with a father incarcerated for over 30 years, a young son, when you didn't have nothing but gang banging going on. I told a whole lot of them, he ain't in your gang, he in my gang, okay? And that's the only gang he gonna be in because I sacrificed. I raised him, I had him. He owed me, he don't owe you anything, okay? So if you roll up on him, you gonna have to deal with me.
Wow.
So that's pretty much how it was. We supported each other, and as they got older, I leaned on them, they leaned on me. They can tell you, brother, I would pop up at the high school. I would pop up at USC. Look at Haniyah's face. All the time, all the time.
And okay, all I wanted to do was go to a basketball game. And I promise you, I came outside and she was notorious for like wearing very big coats and will hold the coat together like this.
Yes, I
came outside. I mean, I am in college. I came outside to go home. I'm going home. She's standing outside her car like this.
Okay.
Talking about, I just want to make sure you got in the house okay. Oh, you did? You came up here to see if I was here and if I was where I said I was.
Yes, ma'am.
And she didn't really have any fear because she was crazy. That's where it came from. She was crazy. So no, she did not. She did not have any types of fears. Because you know, she was crazy.
Praise be to
God.
God.
That was a good crazy. This is a good crazy.
One thing about my mother, she was very involved in our lives. Like she said, she took us everywhere.
That's a nice way to put it.
And I'm trying to be politically correct.
Yeah.
But she, you know, like I said, when witnessing her, we did really get to see faith in motion in my mother. Because I don't know how she did it other than having the faith in Allah. But there's certain things that she instilled in all of us that I know I do with my children, you know, just as a matter of factly, whenever she went to the movie, she would take us to the movies. And it was a movie she wanted to see, but if it was rated R and we was in there and something came up, she'd be like, cover your eyes.
Or she would do
this or this and that. But she would always bring us, you know, together, whatever we was doing. And she always instilled certain things in us, like if one person get in a fight, everybody get in a fight. And that was it. You know, like I said, I'll say this, all of my fights through high school and grade school,
Kabasa.
all because of Kabasa, except maybe one.
And that mouth.
Except maybe one.
That mouth.
And Kabasa would initiate a lot of stuff.
You don't believe that, Brother Josh, do you?
just to prove like how much she instilled that into us. I remember one time there was this brother who and he was a good brother, but he was just a different kind of brother. Ronald Thornton. There was this brother named Ronald Thornton that, you know, we were kind of adversaries in grade school and middle school. So we all got bussed out. So one day, you know, us being bussed from the hood to these white schools, you know, we be there all day. And then if you get on the bus, you got to sit down because you ain't gonna have no seat, or you gonna be sitting 3 to a seat. So this particular time, he had this young female that he really wasn't telling was his girlfriend, but he wanted to sit next to her, but that was the only seat on the bus. So I was in the 8th grade. I was about 125, 130 pounds wet. But because we all went to the same school, Kabasa and Haniyah be on the same bus too. So I remember the brother came on the bus. This is probably the only fight Kabasa didn't start.
No.
This brother, he was about 200 pounds though, but he came and he wanted to sit down where I was sitting. I'm like, I'm sitting down. No, I'm not getting up. Well, I saved that seat. She saved that seat for me. I was like, look, Marlon, I'm not getting up. So he had tried to pull me up, and I had ended up picking him up and body slamming, and we fighting in the back of the bus. Now, while we fighting, I just see some feet coming and kicking him. And I'm like, who is this? And I turn around, it's Kabasa and Haniyah kicking him. And I'm like, y'all get back. Let me handle this. But this is the kind of stuff, like I said, it's a good thing because she gave us that value that, look, if one person get in a fight, everybody get in a fight. And y'all don't come home, with one person being hurt, y'all all gonna make sure that the business is handled before y'all get back. So that, she definitely put that into us, as being our mother, that, like Haniyah said, she was very involved. I couldn't go outside. I used to have to be inside before the street lights came on. But, there was a basketball court in the back of our, complex where we live. But again, like I said, I couldn't be back there because that's where all of the illegal activities was taking place. But as I'm playing basketball, like Haniyah said, my mother coming up with the coat. Talking to all the gangbangers and shot callers. Who are you? Who you? Well, that's my son, and he ain't gonna be in your gang, and he ain't gonna do this. And so, she was very involved in our lives, and sometimes it was embarrassing, but it was all done out of love.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. So many
I don't remember that fight, by
the way.
I don't remember that.
She don't never remember none of that. They used to get whoopings all the time because of Kabasa. She was, now let me tell you, this is why I can really say that the way she got into the post that she got into, it was just befitting for Kabasa, because I remember, I want to share this story with you. Mikal was maybe 4 or 5. You know how children get together on your block and they'll play street football, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, he was sitting on the curb watching them, and Kabasa was standing at the door, and she just bamming on the glass, trying to get out, right? My husband and I, we looking at like, what's wrong with her? What is wrong with her? Is something wrong? So he said, open the door. Haniyah said she crazy too.
I heard her, yes,
ma'am. He said, open the door. Let's just open the door and see what she gonna do. We opened the door. Josh, I think Kabasa might have been all of 3. This little girl was my son's age. She walks all the way to the end of the curb, kicks the little girl, knocks her out the way, and sit down next to her brother and look at the little girl like, now what? I'm like, okay.
I don't remember that either.
Very, very. And then she was always the one, if anybody broke any law as it pertained to something I said in the house, she was gonna tell, okay? She didn't care. So her commitment to loving the law and righteousness, when she decided she was gravitating towards that, I knew. I said, oh, that's Kabasa. That's Kabasa right there.
But she reports all calls from post-mortem discipline from her on.
Whatever.
So she was good at reporting.
Yeah, all the time.
Whatever I did.
All the time, Brother Josh, all the time. Everybody got beef for Kabasa. She be sitting up on the couch enjoying the TV while they be running for the closet.
Not true. I think I took it for everybody because she would hide. She would hide. I would hide.
Well, beautiful. And I had so many questions. I want to come to you, Sister Kabasa. Speaking of your post, and always seeing you, if we're drilling, training the sisters, or holding security as a sister, what goes through your mind when you're protecting, putting your life on the line for the Most Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan?
The same thing that probably would go through the mind of any human being that's sincere. But the first thing is, my father would always tell me, don't ever secure anybody that you're not willing to give your life for. So the first thing is that it's prayer. Prayer's on my mind. Because once I say that I'm going to do it, or once I'm in it, I'm out there. So once I made that decision, then I had to be willing to give my life, and I was willing to give my life. But in securing, I would say Allah is securing. So in my mind, I'm grateful to Allah for giving me the opportunity to be a bearer of witness. Whether I'm standing next to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, whether it's Mother Tainetta Muhammad, may Allah be pleased with her, whether it's Mother Evelyn, Mother Khadija Farrakhan, whether it's the National MGT Captain, Sister Naima Muhammad, whoever's presence that I come in, I thank Allah for allowing me to be a bearer of witness in that moment and at that time, because it's not just people see things from the outside looking in. It's not just standing up there on post with the person, just being in striving to be in tune with Allah, being extremely prayerful, but just being thankful and grateful to Allah to be able to have the opportunity, if he needs to use me in that manner, to be able to shield, whether it's to shield the body, whether it's to shield the environment, to keep the peace, whether it's to shield anything, to help that person to be at peace and so that they can focus on what they're doing, so that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan can focus on the job that I don't want to say the job that he has, because that sounds so demeaning to who he is, but so that whoever his family, whoever it is that I'm able to stand by and be a bearer of witness to, who, if it's Sister Student Minister Ava Muhammad, all these people have a job in assisting the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So I thank Allah for allowing me to be a bearer of witness, especially in this time, to be a bearer of witness. So there's a lot that's on my mind, but I strive to stay extremely focused and just prayerful, in consistent prayer, and to be extremely alert. And then at the time that I am on post at any time, and even my mother will cuss me out later after when I'm off post, because I try to stay focused, because I have to be willing to give 100% of myself. So at that moment, I don't know who anybody is until you prove yourself to be something else. Do you understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I try to stay extremely focused and extremely prayerful, but there's a lot that's on my mind, but mostly just in prayer.
Praise be to Allah. Beautiful. And thank you all for continuing to watch People's Podcast. So many people are showing love in the comments on Facebook. Okay, Sister Haniyah, for you, yes. Every time my niece and nephews or any of the children are at the Children's Village, it's always an honor to see and privilege to see Mother Farrakhan. And it makes us so excited. Once we get past the excitement of seeing Mother Farrakhan, it's like, yo, Sister Haniyah's on post. So let's Sister Haniyah's always showing love. Sister Haniyah, what is it about Mother Farrakhan that, draws you to her? And, and can you tell us some of your favorite memories with Mother Farrakhan?
I mean, to know her is just to love her, period. She is probably like the most beautiful, the most realist person you would ever encounter, like in your life. And I know people probably look at her for who she is on the outside and think, that she's probably, people tend to think that people who have a certain status are rigid. When you're dealing with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and Mother Khadija Farrakhan, you're not dealing with rigid people. You're dealing with people who emanate love. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's just no other way to describe her. Like, to me, the both of them are just perfect. Like, you can't, there's nothing that anybody would ever be able to say about either one of them. They're perfect. They're just perfect to me.
They are.
I mean, memories, all kind of memories. I mean, she's so funny, and most people, I guess, because I'm, I don't want to call myself a jokester. I just, I find laughter in all types of situations. And sometimes it's just good to know that I'm not the only one that finds laughter in some situations. Like something that I might notice, she might notice and say to me. And like, I would literally try to hold myself from laughing because I mean, like I said, she's just so real. She's just a beautiful human being.
Beautiful.
I mean, I don't even know if there's like, and I don't even think that that's the best word to describe. I don't even know if it's a word to describe her. And it's like when the minister describes her and speaks of her, it's like I can feel it to the core because I've encountered her. So I mean, I know he knows better than what I know, but I understand fully, like when he describes her, what he's describing, because I've witnessed that myself. And anyone who's been around her has witnessed that.
Excellent. Thank you all for commenting. Thank you all for your answers. Brother Mikal,
Yes.
Before we went live, we spoke about, I always ask the men about fatherhood. What advice would you give to future fathers, you being a father?
Just be as involved as possible with your children and their lives as you can. And watching the minister and him explaining, I mean, he's a different man. I mean, that's Jesus, number one.
Absolutely.
But he had a different mission. But in him talking about how he sacrificed his life for the Christ, and in him sacrificing his life, he kind of neglected his children and giving his all. But he is somebody who has really denied himself to be who he is. And we all have to do that in a sense. But what we have to do is also look at his example of being a good father at the same time. His sons is always with him, his daughter's always with him, his wife is always with him. He's always acknowledging them. He's always taking care of them. He's furthering his children by doing the work. And when you're a father, you have to think and plan for the future. But it's just the little things. I mean, how much they have different personalities. You're not gonna parent each child the same. Each child is different. Each human being is different. But I would just think, and being a good father is just trying to connect with your children as most as possible during their youth through adolescence, and letting them know that you're always there for them. You don't want to, build a wall between your children. You want to build a bridge, and you want to be able to communicate. I heard silence builds walls, communication builds bridges. So you always want to be able to have that avenue to where you can communicate to your children no matter what. For me, my daughter, she's 15. It's a tough time for me because, she's going through adolescence, but also my boys, they're growing up. But any child, you just want to be able to effectively communicate with them and let them know that you're here for them no matter what. I think that's the only thing you do. And depend, just like my mother said in the beginning, when you depend on Allah and make Allah first, everything else is easy. And when you put that in your children, and you put in your children that there's no God but Allah, Muhammad is his messenger, then everything else is really a wrap. There is no hopelessness if you know who Allah is. And us being who we are in a pristine and blessed position to know that Allah came in the person of Master Father Muhammad. And there's not a lot of people that know the identity of God. We know the supreme being. So we don't have no excuse for nothing. Right. We already won. So us being in the Nation of Islam and being able to give that wisdom to our children, we study, okay, well, Yaqub knew what he wanted to do when he was 6. Master Father Muhammad knew what he wanted to do at 6.
Yes, sir.
Let's put in our children the creative mind for them to know what they want to do at 6, 7, 8, because they're the new rulers. Yes, and sir. The more that we can be hands-on with them, the more that we can guide them, the more that we can, parent them with that. You don't want to spare the rod because you spoil the child, but you want to let them know that that rod is there. But you want to be, there's a book that I encourage all men to read, outside of the Holy Quran and all of the messengers' books and the ministers' books. There's this book called A Man of Steel and Velvet.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
My father told me that he got for me when I was like 13. The author is Aubrey Andelin, but it gives the qualities of a man that a man has to be still from the foundation. But when he's dealing with his children and when he's dealing with his wife, a significant other, you have to have a velvet touch. You can't always be abrasive because you want your significant other to come to you for problems. You want your children to be able to come to you for problems. You don't want people to run in the house and be like, oh, daddy home, let's get this, you want to be, you want them to be able to run to you when they have a problem. Yes, and if they have an issue at school, if somebody's bullying them, you don't want, as a father to them to be embarrassed. So my thing as a father, you want to be able to tear down everything that you can to improve the communication between you and your child.
If I could add to that.
You can't add nothing.
Not for father. But I will I just want to bear witness to that with my father, because even though he was not physically present, you know, we used to hear the stories, and we would of course witness, like my father, when he interacted with men, totally different with his children. Well, I don't know about the boys, but the girls, totally different.
Yeah, you can actually
like he is probably, I mean, and when you look at him in one sense, you know, it's like, you know, there's the fear of, you know, what you know he can do. But at the same time, he was so gentle with me, with us.
With all the girls, yeah.
But I remember, and even when he would have talks about, like he would ask, is there any boys you looking at? I mean, and I would be like I would get this in a letter, but I would be like, because this one,
you bet not.
Total opposite. Look at somebody and I'm gonna cut your throat.
Absolutely.
She was that type.
It worked. Did it work?
I mean, I used to, there was an element of confusion when I was younger, because my father was he was just so gentle, and it was just always, I always knew, even to this day, if I had any type of issue or any type of problem, like that's the first person that I'm gonna call, because number one, he's gonna give it to you straight. Like it's no sugarcoating it, but at the same time, he's never abrasive. And it's like he'll make you see and understand something before he even has to say it. That's just like his way. And I remember, you know, it's funny because most people always say, like, when they see me, I'm smiling, I'm always happy. I think I gathered that growing up just by witnessing him and like his resilience. And I think that just by watching him be in prison, in the position that he was in, and just going to visit him, you would never be able to look at him and see that like his environment dictated him. He always dictated whatever environment he was in. Wow. I remember once we were actually going for a visit, and you know, when you go through all these security gates and all these security checks, and then there's a point where you're like walking outside when you're walking to the visiting area. And we're walking to the visiting area, and I hear cadence. And I was like, like I looked at Kabasa and I was like, I know this man is not out here on this yard drilling these people. And I know they didn't call him and told him that he got a visit, and we walked into the visiting room. Right. But I'm like, and it was like, it would be a trip, because you could tell that there was a difference in the way that the officers responded to us than the way that they responded to everybody else at that prison. Like we would come in and sit down, and like he would come out, and I promise you, I mean, I know that I over exaggerate sometimes a little bit. I promise you, it was almost like when he walked through the doors, like just a spotlight came on, and it was like he was coming through like by himself. And it was almost as if like the guard that would be watching over everyone in the visiting room would stand up. And I'm like, I'm looking like this. Turn around, it's him. But I mean, it would like his, and I talked to my father, but I don't even know if I've even like shared to this degree with him. Like the way that I am now, where I feel like I can almost bear and handle anything and like not get knocked over. Of course, all praise is due to Allah.
Yes, ma'am.
But you know, it's come as a result of me witnessing him and how he responded to the trial that Allah gave him.
Absolutely.
I mean, this is a man who would go in front of the board constantly. No history, no fights, no. I mean, you're not talking about somebody that's in prison kicking up stuff. They would move him for good behavior because he was raising up
absolutely
too many men in the prison. But with all of this, we'll go before the board, denied, denied, denied. And every time he got denied, like, I mean, I would be on the verge of like serious meltdowns. I'll just be honest. He calls, spirit is exactly the same. Unbroken, unshaken, and like would be, and I know he could hear it in my voice and would kind of be like, you know, like, what's wrong with you? And his response to everything is, Allahu Akbar.
Absolutely.
Allah is God. And I'm like, damn, okay. So it's like, it's helped me to not be able, and just in life, period, to not complain. I'll be ready to complain about something, and then I have to stop and be like, okay,
right,
let me stop. It's people going through much worse than what I'm going through. But him and his situation, that has caused me to be extremely resilient. Extremely resilient. All praises due to Allah.
Yes.
Excellent.
Allah.
Oh, let me, I just thought about one more thing about being a father is don't be afraid to apologize when you're wrong. Not only to your significant other, but to your children. I think that's huge because a lot of times as men, we're taught to just be a certain way and not show, not be pliant and not be emotional, you know, not be nimble to a certain extent. You got to be certain, you got to be, but if you're wrong, you're wrong. You have to be able to express that not only to your children, I think to your children in particular, is when you're wrong is being able to be man enough to apologize. Say, I was wrong, I messed up. But, you know, daddy, you know, you got to do what daddy say, but at the same time, I was wrong.
Beautiful. I'm coming to you, Sis Kabasa, and then right back to you, Sis Carmen. Brother Mikal, do you have any plans on going into the ministry, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Inshallah, I want to get back in the student ministry. I actually was in the student ministry in LA. And when I did that, that was, you know, it was the extreme blessing to me because I didn't know anything about being a minister, didn't really have my eyes on doing that, but our dear brother, may Allah be pleased with him, brother Emeritus Abdul Wazir Muhammad.
Yes, sir.
He wanted me when I first got my ex, as Haniyah was saying, I got my ex in 96. And ever since I got my ex in April 96, he wanted me to you know, pull me into that class. And I was like, you know, but Wazir, I'm not a minister. I don't know how to talk. And he was like, oh, he's like, what's all up in you? He's like, I know your mother and your father. He's like, you a minister. And I was like, okay, but you know, it is what it is. But, you know, I was blessed to be the student assistant minister of Brother Abdul Malik Saeed Muhammad. And I remember when the minister came, the minister would come to LA a lot. And I would always be on the, you know, my eyes, I'm a soldier, so I'm an FOI first. So I'm gonna just be on detail. So I remember I was on detail, and when the minister came, he was completing his album, but he was also learning and studying the Scientology as well. And we were in the Celebrity Center, you know, I would always, Brother Sadiq would always put me in the elevator. So one time he was coming in when I was asked to be the student minister, and I asked the minister, I said, Brother Minister, you know, I asked him, what is the best way I can do to assist him and assisting the regional minister by taking on that post? And he was like, well, study me. And I was like, okay. But it was, those two words was all that I needed. And I remember when we was there, you know, I was doing it, and we were doing the detail, like I said, and then the minister was speaking. I didn't know he was speaking, but he happened to speak. But then I was asked to open up for the minister at the Celebrity Center. I'm like, I'm on post though, you know, I'm here showing up for post, and they're like, yeah, well, you know, you just two ministers, so you need to open up. And I was like, man, I'm gonna open up for the minister. I was like, I don't want to get up there, say the wrong thing, stutter. break down, cry, sweat. But, you know, I said a prayer and asked Allah to just to remove Mikal out the way, for him to put his spirit in me. And, you know, by Allah's permission, I got through it. But from that point on, I kind of fell in love with, I've always liked to study the word, but in going back and looking at the same word in a different context, in a different manner, like Message to the Black Man. I mean, I don't never put that, I could put that book down and pick it back up and read the same paragraph and see something different in it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I mean, I love that. And I want to be able to help the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in his mission as much as I can. And I know that one way that I can help is letting people know who he is and pointing to him and giving the best representation that I feel that he deserves, and trying to, like he said, he's denied himself, so I need to deny myself. So we got a big work to do, and all of us are ministers. You know, all of us have to minister to the people. So, you know, I just want to be able to take the little wisdom that I got and be a good parent and point people to the direction of the Christ and the God. And inshallah, I will get back into that as soon as possible.
Praise be to Allah. Well, you got the spirit and the mannerisms. You do a great job.
Man, praise be to Allah.
I don't know, Josh. I don't know.
Y'all, no more questions for Haniyah, brother Josh. No more questions.
We are trying to allow you and your viewers to really see our family, brother. Okay.
Oh, Josh already knows.
Because I think I'm the Sister Haniyah of my family, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? I think I'm the Sister Haniyah of the siblings. So we gotta be free spirit. This is the Haniyah. We gotta say what we gotta say. Sister Kabasa, I have a quick question for you.
Yes, sir.
What was it like once you became, I know it's the students in it now, but like back in the day, and you over the sisters in the Vanguard, and what was it like you having that conversation with your father? Because all I heard from LA was Capt Malik, then Captain Shahid, then Captain Ali, like that, but it was Capt Malik first. What was it like for you being a daughter, telling that you were walking in his footsteps and you had accomplished, you know, that? What was it like for you to have that conversation with him?
I think that was probably an ongoing conversation. Because I would always look to him I would always speak to him for guidance and advice. So I think that it was a ongoing conversation, because regardless to whether if I was serving as the Vanguard captain, in the secretary's office, as a student lieutenant, as a squad leader, whatever it was that I was doing, I was in service to the people. So it was just always getting guidance from him on how to better serve the people, how to keep my emotion in check, how to respond, getting guidance on how to respond to difficulty. But the thing is, like what my sister was just explaining in her experience growing up, because we were given so much of an example, we were able to watch so much. It was certain things that I didn't have to ask. It was certain things that I did not have to talk about, even in watching my mother as an example for us as a strong woman, raising us and in the mosque, and watching my father and watching him teach and train men, and being able to take, seeing back then when we were growing up, I mean, I guess the gangs is big now, but it was very big back then in LA, but being able to observe how he would take what people would say as the worst and mold them and shape them with the help of Allah, with the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the teachings of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and shape and mold them and make them and help with Allah's permission to make them the men of God. So I was given a lot of examples. So I didn't have to always have a conversation on or ask him what to do or what. I think it was a position of service for me, regardless to what I was doing. So it was always work and service. So the examples that were being given to me, it was so many examples that were given to me, so many in so many instances, so many even before he went away physically. My father was always there because we were always in communication. We were always communicating. There was always an open line of communication. So he may have been in another place physically, but he was still always with us. So it's more so in the example and being able to communicate with him. so that I can handle things and still be myself, so that I can respond to people and still be myself, so that I can serve in the best capacity, and be the best example for the sisters. Because it's so easy just to tell somebody something. It's so easy to repeat something, but the best teacher and trainers are those that are the best examples. So I would never ask anybody. I remember he would never ask anybody to do anything that I'm not willing to do myself, or not to do anything that I'm not already doing, or that I'm not going to go out and do with you. I'm not going to ask you to stand and hold a post that I'm not going to do myself. I'm not going to ask you to do anything that you're not going to see me doing, because I'm going to be standing there with you doing it. So just being able to, there were numerous conversations that I was able to have with him. So I can't remember one instance, because it was always constant conversation, and whatever it is that we were doing and however we were growing, it was always a constant conversation.
Beautiful.
Question.
Well, another thing I want to
wait,
before back into Kabasa.
Hold on. Did I answer your question, Brother Josh?
Yes, ma'am, you did. And I have a follow-up question for you. But I want to just first say this, that I pray that my future children, inshallah, speak of me in the manner that you all speak of your father.
We paid us for that. He just cashed up with some money. So. I know. But another thing, like Kabasa was saying, that my father did was that he put in us that spirit to serve, but also he gave us the perspective of take plenty. He always told me, and I know he told my sisters too, is be the piece of wood.
Yeah, but
Don't be the sandpaper. People go rub up on you, be abrasive, but allow them to shape you in that when the sandpaper's job is done, yours is just beginning. Yes, so sir. Be that piece of wood that Allah is shaping, and he's working on you. It's like that, the master smith that puts the iron and he puts it in the fire and he beats it and he cools it off and he beats it. That's how it is in the resurrection business. It's dealing with our people. We have to be able to take plenty. So, I know Kabasa and Haniyah all been through this, but a lot of people love Brother Malik, but a lot of people don't like him as well. So we get both sides of it. Of that. But the good thing is that we've learned by his example, my mother's example, how to deal with different emotions, not only in ourselves, but in other people, and not to create such a response that will ill affect the brother and the sisterhood. And I think that's one of the best things that he's put in us, and my mother as well, is our love for our brothers and sisters, and that we continuously want to help and not be a hindrance in his work.
Beautiful. I have to say so. I mean, I'm very, very grateful. My children are laughing. I'm very grateful and I'm very thankful, for the journey that Allah has taken this family on, because, it has not been easy. And I'm sure you and your siblings can speak to this. When you come from two individuals that, have established themselves, sometimes people see you through those individuals instead of seeing you for who you are. Yes, and you oftentimes don't have a choice. You have to be the standard, because the sacrifices that those that were a part of your life and are a part of your life, your parents, the sacrifices that they made. So you don't want to disappoint them, but it's not easy. And I used to, just thinking back on the question you said about fear, I didn't have fear, but I was always concerned about my children, because I understood and I was a part of watching the devil manipulate people, and put people in positions for things to happen to them. So I've always been a very security-minded person when it came to my children. Didn't allow them to do a lot of intermingling. There are stories that we haven't told you. There have been times when I've been in another state and people would come up to me that I didn't even know and ask me, how's Abdul Malik? Because they knew that I was married to him and I had children by him. There were situations, and we won't get into it in depth, but there were situations where my son was targeted, you know, and put in positions that could have been not so good. But it was like when the Caucasian and the devil know that there's power in people, and they know that there's a love for this mission and for the duty, that's when they really get busy.
Yes, ma'am.
And they used to get busy with us all the time, you know. A lot of naysayers, a lot of hypocrites, a lot of agents. Hell, we didn't know who was around us. All we knew that was that Master Farad Muhammad was God, that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was who we were with, and that's how we roll. You know, we didn't intermingle with a lot of people, and I taught them always be conscious of the people that are around you. Don't look at nobody but that man that's standing in front of you, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So yeah, it's been a hell of a ride, brother. It's been a roller coaster ride, but all praise is due to Allah. When I look at it now, I wouldn't have it any other way.
Praise be to Allah. Beautiful. And I'm coming to each of you all. I just got and so many comments catching on YouTube because I can't get to everybody's questions. I'm coming back to you, Sister Kabasa, but I also wanted to say to Sister Carmen and Brother Mikal that this was like 2008 at the McCormick Place. I was at a workshop with a part of it with you and Sister Carmen and me and my moms dealing with growing up in the nation and mothers and sons. So to see you all sitting here again, it really means a lot to me, and it's really beautiful. And I'm coming back to you, Sister Carmen. Sister Kabasa, back to you, ma'am, and then Sister Haniyah. Sister Kabasa, advice for future wives. What advice would you give to them?
For future wives?
Yes, ma'am.
Patience. Just to be patient, be the best, strive to be the best helpmeet that you can be. Stay focused on who God is, but be extremely patient. But keep God at the center and everybody else out.
Praise be to Allah. Excellent. Sister Haniyah, I'm coming to your mother's about the fashion because so many people know you through the garments. And but Sister Haniyah was one of the first sisters I saw model that wasn't like, it was like a swag Muslim walk. You know what I'm saying? Sister Haniyah was coming, I said, okay, look, Sister Haniyah had the Muslim walk on the catwalk, but it was like swagging. Everybody else was very rigid and drilling type of modeling. Sister Haniyah, what does it feel like to model your own mother's clothes and, you know, in fashion and style? What does that feel like as a daughter?
Okay, to be quite honest, like I love the clothes, but as far as the runway, like I absolutely hate it. And she will tell you that like it's literally like pulling teeth to try to get me to do it. Because I mean, you know, I know some people think like I'm very, you know, vibrant, want to be like, really? I like to play to the back a lot.
Okay.
I mean, even with the, you know, the cooking show, that was probably like pulling teeth too. Because I just, you know, I get very scared. Now, her clothes, I love the clothes. And I love the fact that, you know, I think because when some people, the perception that a lot of people have of women in the Nation of Islam is that we're not stylish.
Yes, ma'am.
Don't know how to dress. We're homey. You know, we're Stepford wives. We're, you know, when I mean, like we are the best of the best. And I think that her clothing and her designs helped to bring that to the forefront and the mainstream. Because even, you know, a lot of Muslim designers that, I mean, when she did her first show in Italy, you know, when like in life, never, have you ever seen like the headpiece that was designed by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad on a runway? I mean, you see it at Savior's Day at the Copa Hall or on a runway in Italy. Like, when have you ever? Like, never. I was so I was so proud of her for that, you know, and like my mom and I, because we're also very close, you know, I mean, you all can tell by watching this, you know, we talk to each other like we're all crazy, really. But, you know, I was really like, I was so proud of her because my mother has had us in her fashion shows
forever
since we could walk. Like there are videos of us from when we were like 4 or 5. He was maybe like 7 in a leather suit.
Me out there.
In a black leather suit. I mean, and some of the designs back then were very, you know, risky. I don't know what she was doing back then. I mean, you know, she pulled it together and got like the outfits right. But yes, there are some horrific videos out there of us like as children, and it went from children all the way up until now. I mean, even though I'm only 22, it's still,
right,
you know.
Right. And I'm 20, right?
Hey.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, yeah, it feels good. It definitely feels good to just, you know, put something on and someone like, because everywhere I go, like I could be in the grocery store in a garment and somebody's like, oh my gosh, that is so beautiful. Like I could wear that to church. Where did you get it? Oh, my mom made it. And they'd be looking at me like, really? And I'm like, yeah, she makes clothes. You go here, you can get this, you know, but yeah, it's good. All praise is due to Allah. I'm very proud of her, but it feels good to, you know, represent for the nation and represent for Muslim women in general.
Excellent. Now, Sister Carmen, what inspired you to start your fashion line, and how did it feel to take it, as Sister Haniyah, once again, jump into my questions, take it all the way to Italy? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, this has been such a fun show. I'm not, as focused as I like to be, because I'm laughing at all of them. But it was just, I've always been into fashion, even prior to, and I think most young girls are. When you're younger and you're growing up, you're playing with dolls, you're sewing your doll clothes, you're always into that. But when I accepted Islam, I brought that with me, that desire to want to be, fashionably dressed as a Muslim, because I attended a public high school. I didn't go to a Muslim school. So it was important to me that the people that were around me and that had grew up with me prior to me coming to Islam would feel comfortable and could relate to me and would see that and be desirable, wanting to know more about Islam. So that was when I started. And I think when I really came back in and got active, one of the first things that we did in LA was a women's conference. And Sister Emeritus Alice said, okay, I'm putting you over to fashion in terms of, you're going to help coordinate the show. I want you to put your line together. So that was what was the inspiration in the beginning for me. It was that show was kind of what kicked it off. And then when I saw the response that I was getting from sisters from all over, like, do you just do that for you and your daughters? No, I would love to do it for you. And that's when I really thought about, this is something I would really like to take to the next level. So, and, like I said, going to Italy it was definitely spiritual. Allah was all up in that, for real. And it turned out the way that it did, because it was what Master Farad Muhammad wanted to happen. And it happened that way. And it's just been a blessing, because it's been from Italy to getting invited to Milan, to Paris, to Dubai, to the museum exhibit. But the thing is that you go and you do them things and you have something in mind. And what I have in mind is a new dress, a new mind, and a new woman. And that's bringing them back to us. So I've done all of that. So now it's time for us to do something here, and let's bring the world to us. So that's my desire now.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Sister Haniyah. Okay.
Yeah, out. in just about 2 more minutes. We better hurry up and be at the end of this podcast.
We're coming to the end. We just have a few more questions, and thank everybody in the comments. Please continue to like, share, and subscribe. Brother Mikal, what do you do for fun, sir?
Torture us.
Yes.
Been that way since we were young.
When this COVID era, I've been binge watching this show, Resurrection. That's probably the only thing I've been doing. But for fun, you know,
what is
spend time with my children when I can. You know, like I got to go to Closing the Gap. Fun is learning.
I knew y'all gonna come. I was like, nope.
Listen, brother. Fun is keeping it Messiah, as the Supreme would say. You know what I'm saying? That's fun. But I do. You know what? One thing that this has definitely taught me is I always love the brotherhood, like, you know, growing up, especially under my father. But I appreciate the brotherhood so much more that I'm not able to interact with them like I used to. So fun to me is getting back out in the field and pushing, touching my people, touching my brothers, being able to give a cheek to cheek. That's gonna be fun to me.
Yes,
is meet my brother and hug him and give him a cheek to cheek. Or just, you know, fun is seeing people come to Islam and have the glow in their eye and really getting it and understanding. Fun to me is seeing how they're not falling for the tricks that the enemy is lying on who Jesus is. And fun is Black people waking up. And fun is having, you know, some righteous get back, some righteous retaliation, you know, when we can. That's fun. All praise due to Allah.
Praise be to Allah, yes, sir. And Sister Kabasa, what is your favorite movie, ma'am?
Oh boy, somebody trying to get her, huh?
Babs. No, it's not.
I can see Babs. I can see Babs.
Black American Princess. I shouldn't have came on here with her. I like a lot of movies, but actually, I like The Godfather.
Okay, beautiful. Praise be to Allah. Beautiful. Excellent. And Sister Haniyah, I'm not coming with the movie question for you. For you, music. What is your favorite? If you could choose a favorite album of all time, what album would you listen to over and over again?
Michael Jackson.
The Crown.
Don't. No, this is gonna be like super tough for me because
Billie Jean.
like I like a plethora of artists.
Yes, ma'am.
Some might be surprised to know I am a big Currency Spitta fan.
Okay.
But you know, depending on the mood, I like the Foreign Exchange. I love Jay-Z.
Okay.
Tupac, Ice Cube, Jay Electronica, of course. And you know, the thing about Jay Electronica is, you know, although it's good music, it's very good music, you know, the Muslims have like a special bond. Because it's like, you know what I mean? Like when you hear his lyrics, it's like, you know, you in the back like, yeah, that's us. So there's Jay Electronica. Who else? I am a Justin Timberlake fan.
Okay.
How can I forget Nip?
Oh, neighborhood Nip. Yeah.
Nipsey, Snoop. I'm a big West Coast. Hey, stop. We're getting to the album. I had to bring it around. But
Quick.
some DJ Quick. But gosh, album. Man, that's tough because
I'll tell you what my favorite is.
I almost want to say, no, ma'am. I almost want to say The Chronic, but I'm not going to say that.
The halal version of The Chronic.
There is no halal version. There is no.
I'm gonna say y'all must be judging my albums behind me because I got The Chronic 2001 over there. Y'all probably like this. Sister.
And too. So it would be hard for me to narrow it down to like one album. Ooh, that's tough.
But you gave us a lot, so we get the gist of it.
Yeah. We can make a mixtape from that. We can make a mixtape from that and then just run it back to back.
Yes, ma'am. Sister Carmen, this past Sunday, they had a verses with Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Oh my God.
First, the Isley Brothers. I don't know if that's like your era or not, but what do you listen to that type of music? What type of music do you listen to?
My era, of course. They were way before me. No. I'll tell you, my favorite album is Marvin Gaye, What's Going On. That's my favorite. I don't care. I listen to Snoop. I listen to everybody. But if you want to say what's my favorite album,
yes, ma'am,
of a secular artist, I would say him. And I say that because even though he did the album decades ago, what he was talking about then is relevant now.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Curtis Mayfield, those artists who had something to say, something that was going to be inspiring for Black people to unite and come together. That was my thing. So yeah, it would have to be Marvin Gaye. His daddy liked Marvin Gaye too. And Earth.
Mm-hmm. We all like Earth.
Yeah, I'm an Earth, Wind, and Fire fan.
Yeah.
Isley Brothers fan too.
Yes, sir.
Excellent. Well, I want to thank you all for coming on. I have one more question just for Sister Carmen, but I want to thank Brother Mikal, Sister Kabasa, and Sister Haniyah once again. I pray that my family in the future,
thank you,
the siblings, like y'all are close. You know, I have a siblings, and I pray that we're close like you all and warriors in the name of Allah. That's beautiful. You know what I'm saying? That's beautiful. But Sister Carmen, I ask all of my guests when I usually do one-on-one, what would you like your legacy to be, ma'am?
Wow. Wow. That's, I got to really think about that. I think, wow. Be quiet, girl. There are so many things.
Yes, ma'am.
When I think about a legacy, I think about creating solvency, economic stability for my children, and building that from something that I'm doing, uplifting the race of Black people. I can't answer that right now because there are so many things that are going through my mind, that work that still needs to be done. I think about when I first accepted Islam and being as young as I was and doing the things that they're doing now. But now I'm in a different area, in a different stage of life. So I'm serving this mission differently. It's not going to be the way it was when I was their age, but I just want to be a great helper to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I want to be an inspiration to my family, to my children, to my nation, to women in general. I want them to understand that we are resilient and that we are the first teachers of our children, that we are the mother, and that, you know, with no disrespect to men, if you see a strong man, you better look for a strong woman, because he is what he is because of the support system and the infrastructure that he has. So, you know, I just, wow, just want to be a good Muslim. At the end of the day, I want my good to outweigh my bad. I want to inspire. I want to be able to do great things for the nation, you know. So it's so many things. That's a loaded question for me, because I could go on and on and on. Yeah, as you can see, we all talk. This family, we run our mouth, you know. We all are very long-winded. We all are very. Oh, stop! Stop! No, but have so thoroughly enjoyed this, and I know that, you know, it probably could have been a little bit more structured on your side. Hopefully, you know, your viewers was able to enjoy it as well and get something out of it. You know, I believe in keeping it real. You know, I believe in keeping it real, honestly.
She meant us being structured.
Yeah.
No, not you. I'm talking about us.
No, I understand. I understand.
See how
Sis Carmen right here. We got it. We know what you did.
I see you.
Words.
That was a Freudian slip.
Words matter.
No, but honestly, you know, we were this family. We were all over the place because we wanted to share so much with you and with the viewers because we are one. We really are. When you look at us, we're one. You know, we're one unit, and we're moving like one, and we all love the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. We love this teaching, just as you and your family. You know, I just want to say this: your mom and your dad in your family was one of my first contacts when I got here to Chicago, outside of Sister Student Emeritus Captain Aisha. You all were the first contact. And that really was very comfortable for me. I felt right at home. I honestly did. And coming from LA to Chicago, that was a big culture shock for me. Quite different. But your mom and your dad, they just have a way with people, man. It's, you know, you feel like you're at home with people in the South when you come around your family. So your family as well. We got so many special families all over the Nation of Islam. And we're just honored that you decided to have us this group on.
Beautiful.
So thank you.
Thank you all. And once again, I see the parallels between our family, but I see the vision of what I see my future family being. I'm like, no, I'm gonna have some hit. If I got daughters, they better be strong hitters. And if I got a son, but like Brother Mikal, and a wife repping me, and you know, beautiful family.
And then you need to send them to the MGT and GCC class.
You already know that's where they from. Where else would they be from?
That's where they have to be.
Yeah, where else would they be? I don't know. Like, I also want to say a special again salute from, you know, a young, just from ever since I was younger, looking at your father on pictures. You know what I'm saying? And of course, and videos. And then when YouTube came out, I was like, oh, I seen him walk with the ministers. I seen him stand behind him with Dr. Khaled. So shout out to your father and you know, brother Capt Malik, man, emeritus Capt Malik, but just a soldier, bro. And may Allah bless him to be strong, to let him know that he's inspired people all over the country. I'm sure all over the world as well. So we love him as well as you all. Thank you all for watching. This is Joshua Leonard Muhammad signing off for the People's Podcast. Assalamu alaikum.
Love you.
Thank you, Sister Haniyah.